What's up, everybody? This is the Booch, and welcome to episode 19 of the Boochcast reviews, Darkside of the 90s. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I am joined by the one, the only, the broke soulless ginger, Mr. Zack Scott.
What's up, dude and dudettes? Yes, it's me, the broke soulless ginger, Zack Scott. Gene speaking, I'm not broke. Today we're talking about the Y2K Paranoia. I like to say Paranoia bullshit.
Ladies and gentlemen, the time that we're recording this, Zach finally finished the second half of watching that episode, and oh dear God. This one, we've touched on it a few times in this series. There have been a few times this has come up. Today we're going in depth into this Y2K Paranoia. A lot of you might have heard about it, especially since about 11 years ago, we had a little thing called the 2012 thing, the Mayan calendar. Everyone thought,
I remember that.
Everyone thought that was going to come to an end. Well, for those of you that were not born in the 90s, for those of you who were not around for this 2000 Y2K thing, this was basically our version of that 2012.
Yeah.
That's what that was. So, all the craziness and religious shit that you heard about in 2012, we kind of went through with the Y2K, but on a deeper level. Now, on the eve of the millennium, as some Americans party like it's 1999, others believe the end of the 90s marks a countdown to the end of the world. It all spreads panic and paranoia until everyone wonders, is this apocalypse now? Now, Zach is smiling. So, Zach, for the listeners out there, what do you know about Apocalypse Now?
It is a old school Vietnam movie with Martin Sheen in it. That's what it was. The Ride of Valkyries. Whenever it was surfing and everything else. That was my late grandpa's favorite war movie of all time. One of his favorites. I mean, like, okay, when she said that, I was like, oh my God, did they not do Martin Sheen?
Yes. Yep. It's an old movie. It's a classic movie. Hopefully I'll watch it one day. Early in the 1990s, the ATF and other federal officers attempt to execute a warrant on anti-government survivalist Randy Weaver.
Oh yeah, Ruby
over an outstanding weapons charge. He sold 2 illegal sawed-off shotguns to a federal informer. It leads to an 11-day standoff in Ruby Ridge, Idaho. When the smoke clears, Weaver's wife, their 14-year-old son, and a U.S. Marshal are dead, leaving anti-government anger simmering among his supporters.
And that was a fucked up situation. Well, this is the first part where the law enforcement shot first because they did not identify themselves as enforcement.
Yes.
You're supposed, Dad, this is the police. Okay. But no, Randy Weaver, that was one big clusterfuck of 2 ways of Sunday.
Yeah, because, no one's going to drop their gun for just a random person walking by. You have to acknowledge you're the police. Police, freeze. You ever notice that? Like, ATF, freeze. FBI.
CIA.
They're like, no. Well, CIA is not supposed to be operational in the country. They're only supposed to work outside the country.
Or, Vice.
Yeah. Well, they're exclusive to Miami.
Is John Johnson there, you think so?
Huh?
You think Don Johnson's still there?
Yeah. No one told him the show was canceled, so he just goes around trying to solve crimes. There's guys working on docks saying, dude, what the fuck are you doing here? Can I just unload this truck in peace? I got a few questions. Weaver's charged with murder, conspiracy, and some lesser crimes. But because the FBI and ATF failed to identify themselves as law enforcement, celebrity defense lawyer Gary Spence successfully argued self-defense. Like you just said.
Yeah, I mean,
so he was acquitted.
Yeah.
He got off.
Yes.
So it's like if you arrest somebody and forget to say their Miranda rights. They can just walk away. That's why they always say, like, read him his rights. Now, anytime somebody gets arrested, even if it's somebody they've been tracking down for weeks, months, years, and they finally catch him. They say, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. They have to say that. Even if it's somebody they've been tracking down, once they finally catch him, they have to say it. The verdict legitimizes the anti-government hate at the core of a growing movement of militant extremists across the country. It was easy to imagine the federal government was willing to go after anybody that it disagreed with and use lethal force in doing that. Going after people you disagree with?
Wow, never in a million years.
Why? This was a thing?
Was this a thing?
I don't know. I've never seen anybody get attacked for disagreement.
No, absolutely.
We live in a civilized society.
Oh yeah, we live very civilized.
Don't believe me? Go to Twitter. Look how peaceful it is over so there.
Peaceful, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Sarcasm at its finest.
Yes. And scene. So
mic drop.
But I'm just saying, like, this is when people really started to think the government was against us. But here's the thing. And then back then, if you thought that, you were fucking crazy.
Cuckoo.
Now, there's some people who think the government's after us, and it's like, well, let's hear them out. Mm-hmm. Like, now people actually want to listen because a lot of people have distrust in the government. Mm-hmm. They have a lot of distrust in the government. And hell, I've always said part of the reason Trump got elected was because of distrust in the fucking government. True. They failed at their job so badly, Trump got elected. On paper, he should have never got the job. I believe if politicians did right by the American people and weren't corporately influenced or manipulated by corporate donors, mm-hmm. Trump would have never got elected. But because no one has faith in the government anymore and still doesn't, that's how he was able to get in. But then once he got elected, a lot of Americans got a horribly bad case of Stockholm Syndrome, mm-hmm. kicked him out 4 years later, mm-hmm. and brought Sleepy Creepy Joe in. It puts Belle from Beauty and the Beast to shame. Shame. And soon, that fear and paranoia will morph a legitimate worldwide technological crisis into one more example of how the feds are plotting to get them. And when I realized this, you know what I'm starting to... I just had this thing pop in my head. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm starting to get a theory here. Mm. I think the way that, you know, these militias are feeling about the government mm-hmm. is kind of how, you know, black people today look at the police. Yeah. I'm starting to see there's a parallel here. I'm noticing.
Black people don't like the government. Black people don't like the police.
But I'm just saying, they feel like, oh, they're out to get us. Yeah. Think about it. They say the same thing. They're out to get us. They're hunting us. Mm-hmm. They should be defunded. Like, there's very much a parallel here between that. The crisis is Y2K, a computer anomaly experts say could unleash global Armageddon. They fear nuclear power plants may cease to generate the electricity we need. It's the kind of tricky international problem most people look to government to solve. But in the 90s, America's burgeoning militia movement sees a trap and is arming itself in preparation of a government clampdown. This is where now they're instead of thinking, oh, the government will save us, like, no, they're going to use this against us to control us, make us their slaves. But Y2K didn't have to be a crisis at all because this Canadian had been warning everyone about this moment for 20 years. His name was Peter de Jager, who is known today as the Paul Revere of Y2K and the Gloom and Doomster. He was a computer operator who fed paper into an IBM printer and then noticed the problem in 1979. Back in the 60s and 70s, at the beginning of the day, when you started up the computer, there was no place for the computer to get the date and time because the internet didn't exist. Mm. Now, because remember when we talked about the internet before, mm-hmm. It's in the 60s and 70s, only the government used it. Yeah. It wasn't until the 90s that it became accessible to the public with the World Wide Web. Yeah. Before that, it was just a government-issued device for missiles and tracking stuff and all mm-hmm. that. So it was just the government that had it, we didn't. So you had to enter it in by typing. For the year, you would type in 2 digits. Like for 1979, you type in 79. Mm-hmm. Or like on like birth certificate. I was born in 1987, so I would always put 87. They shortened the year to 2 digits because back then data was expensive, so they cut corners in the programming. That's why they did that. So like March 4th, 3487. Peter in college did numerical analysis, and while examining the years, he realized that on January 1st, 2000, the digits would be 00. And the computer was going to end up thinking it's 1900. That was the fear. Yeah. Now it's going to go back to 99 years, 98 years, whatever. It's Peter's light bulb moment. The computer's confusion over what year it is could lead to cataclysmic consequences. He went to his boss and says, "You're coming to me with something. There's going to be a problem in 21 years. Get out of my office. Someone will fix it by then." And that, ladies and gentlemen, leads to cataclysmic problems.
Very true.
Because nobody wants to deal... And we all do this. He's literally guilty of something that we all fucking do. It's like, this is going to be a problem in 20 years? I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. Yep. I ain't going to worry about it now. You know? You need to go to the dentist. I'm not hurt. My mouth is fine. I'll leave right later. Why don't you go to the doctor? I'm not sick. Well, you could get sick. Well, when I get sick, I'll go to the doctor. For now, spark it up.
Spark it up.
Peter's boss was misguided because even as he said someone will fix it, those someones have been ignoring the 2-digit date problem for decades. So anytime they say, oh, someone will fix it by then, it's like, no one's been fixing it. No one's paying attention to this. In 1970, the Scottish bank, known as Widow's Bank, ran into a problem when they were entering in 30-year mortgages. The closing date of the mortgage is in the year 2000. The computer didn't take kindly to that. Still, the standard phrase was, someone else will fix this by then, but of course no one does.
No one does.
And as the world begins to explore cyberspace, the issues become even more urgent. In 1989, Sir Tim Berners-Lee, a British scientist, invents the World Wide Web, which set the stage for the 90s. Talked about this, so we won't jump into that. Back then, computers only had 640K of memory. Imagine that! 640K, that was it.
Yep.
Compared to how many of these sumbitches have today.
Prime example.
And the fact that I have tons of videos on this computer that I'm recording on, by the way. I rarely have to delete anything off this file. And that was just the high-end ones. High-end density storage was 360K on a large floppy drive. It was the Stone Age of computer time. And I know you guys are saying, floppy drive? You remember the floppy drives?
I remember the floppy drive.
Oh my god, I remember those. That big-ass fucking square, and you had to put it into the computer. There were even computer games on the floppy disk, and you had to put them into the computer in order to mess with it or do anything. Yep. It was so fucking weird. Words cannot describe how fucking weird it was.
All you gotta do is go, hey, click Angry Birds.
Exactly. You don't have to put in a disc.
Nope.
You don't have to put in a cartridge.
Nope. You don't have to worry about losing your memory stick.
Yeah. Hey, remember on the PlayStation 2 when the memory stick, it had little designs up there?
Yeah.
Every time you deleted one, you felt like you were killing a character.
Yeah. You don't have to worry about that at all.
Rest in peace, Crash Bandicoot.
Yep, rest in peace, Crash Bandicoot. Also, NFL Blitz.
You PlayStation characters never learn. If you know where that's from, you're awesome. And as 90s PC makers try to change that by enthusiastically introducing faster models with even more memory, Peter's becoming increasingly passionate about preparing the looming Y2K bug. He was offended by Y2K because it was a stupid, silly problem and no one is paying attention. Because this was the real Y2K problem, was computers and computer memory and computers being shut down. That was the biggest problem we had. Everything else came from other places that we'll get to, but this is the root of the Y2K problem. This is it, right here. This is it. Peter's compelled to go public with his concerns. In 1993, he writes an article called Doomsday 2000. The article finally grabs the attention of the computer community, as opposed to one he wrote before called Tick Tock, Time's a Wasting. Or as Samuel L. Jackson would say, Tick Tock, motherfucker!
Tick Tock.
Pierce pointed that this has the potential to be very bad. Planes can fall out of the sky, elevators go into the ground, pharmaceutical companies having expiry problems, inventory control problems. Basically, anything that's controlled by a computer would be unable to do its job if this Y2K problem isn't fixed. So anything involving computers, you have a problem. If your job doesn't involve computers, you're pretty much fine. It means every bank, institution, corporation, and government in the world could suffer massive operational failures at the turn of the century. But while some insiders are listening, convincing the organization to take action against the millennium bug is nearly impossible. People at the top didn't realize at the time how dependent they are on computers. They need to fix this by 2000. It's going to cost a truckload of money. People didn't believe it. Yeah, dependent on computers. Back then, they didn't realize that.
Nope.
Today, name one thing that isn't dependent on a computer. Don't worry, I'll wait. Nothing. You know who I know for a fact is dependent on a computer? Us. We're dependent on a computer to put out this video for you to watch. We're dependent on a computer to do the podcast, that version that we do. We're dependent on the computer to put out content on social media. If anybody needs the internet, it's us. Without the internet, we don't have a show.
Nope.
I'm just talking to the wall if there's no internet.
Yep.
I'm just looking at the wall saying all this crazy shit.
The raw response back to problems.
Yeah, I gotta cut back on my weed. But Pierre's underlying message of impending doom and gloom does find a receptive audience in America's rising right-wing militia groups who increasingly believe they're at war with the government over their freedoms. So the message is getting out, but to the wrong people.
Yep, true.
Because they're thinking, oh, this is when the government's going to control us. This is when the world's going to explode. This is when we're all going to become extinct. No, it's just computers are going to get fucked up. That's the only problem. 8 months after the standoff with Randy Weaver at Ruby Ridge, a compound outside Waco, Texas explodes with bloodshed, igniting even more anti-government sentiment. The Branch Davidians.
So we previously talked to you about before.
So we ain't going to get into that.
No.
The FBI comes in and takes over, and they basically try to force an end to the standoff, which goes horribly awry. The Davidians start setting fires on the compound, and large numbers of them are burned to death. In the end, 76 Branch Davidians, including their leader, David Koresh, die in the siege. So, now they're saying they're setting the fires. Because we didn't hear that the last time.
Yep.
So now we're trying to figure out who shot... We don't know who shot first, but apparently the Davidians were the ones setting the fires.
Yes, they generally speaking, they shot first.
Looks that way, but we don't know.
Yeah.
America was shocked and criticized the ATF and the FBI for the piss-poor job they did. But the most agitated were the far right, because once again they are seeing federal agents kill multiple people, including children. It gave birth to the militia movement. Because now they're seeing, they're coming after us. We're being hunted. Clap back. Actually, that's not enough. Bring me the AK. And the AR.
The bazooka.
And the JK Elemental P.
Yeah, JK Elemental P.
With the lasers. With the laser scope.
RS, TUV, WX, and Y and Z.
With a laser scope. We're going in.
Okay.
We're going to need body armor because, god damn it, we're getting out alive.
Good to know. Disturbing.
And soon, followers of America's militia movement will commit previously unthinkable acts to further anti-government agenda. So they try to be the solution, but end up becoming the problem.
Yep. We never heard of that problem before, have we not?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
While Pierre and others struggle to be heard about the millennium bug, another more sinister group with their own end-of-the-world concerns is making its mark. Sparked by anti-government standouts at both Ruby Ridge and Waco, America's militia movement is expanding. It begins in 1994 with the militia of Montana. And within the next few months, others start popping up all around the country. They believe that the rest of the world was essentially controlled by a global, tyrannical, socialist, one-world government. They called it World Order.
Geez, we never heard of that before now, have we? A certain black shirt with a certain 3 white words on there.
Well, sometimes they were red.
Sometimes they were red.
Yeah.
Sometimes they were blue.
We're never blue.
Blue World Order.
That was a blue T-shirt with white lettering.
Yeah, I know.
Just saying, that wasn't white lettering.
We never heard of that NWO, have we not?
No.
No.
For the longest time, when I first heard someone talking about the NWO, I was like, why are they talking about wrestling? And then I found out there was a whole other NWO.
There you go.
Because that's the only NWO I knew about was Hogan, Hall, Nash, and WCW. That's the only NWO I ever knew about for the longest time. They believed the government was stripping us of our freedoms, so we would become slaves to the New World Order. Ferdinand Marcos declared martial law in the Philippines, and one of his first orders was turn in all guns or it was the death penalty. He disarmed the public. Now, that wasn't mentioned in that part I just said wasn't mentioned in the show, but that was mentioned by a certain individual. I'm not going to say his name because it triggers Zach, but he told this story because he was in the Philippines the day this happened. Now, here's the thing, though. The reason when they think government's coming after their freedoms, they usually talk about the Second Amendment a lot. That gets brought up a lot. Because here's the thing people don't understand about the Second Amendment. And it's something that both sides need to be educated on. The Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, has nothing to do with hunting or fishing. That's obsolete. The reason it's obsolete is for this one reason. The Constitution was signed in 1776. So it was created around the 1700s. Back then, if you didn't hunt, if you didn't fish, you didn't eat. There were no Kroger's or Publix back then. There was no Aldi's or Trader Joe's or Whole Foods. They didn't have those. You had to go out with a gun, if you were a man, and go hunting. Yeah, women didn't go hunting. I know in lions, the lioness does the hunting, but in the human species, the men do. So that's why if you were a boy growing up during that time, you had no choice but to learn how to use a gun. You were taught at a young age. Your daddy took you hunting, taught you how to hold a gun. He taught you how to shoot a gun. He taught you how to respect a gun. You use that gun to hunt. You use that gun to fish. You use that gun to protect your property. And you use that gun for the Third Amendment as well, which is about the right to form a militia. Because sometimes they had soldiers, but they also had militia, which were everyday people that would go into battle. Sometimes they would guys would literally leave their homes to go fight. If you want to know more about this, watch The Patriot with Mel Gibson. I know Mel Gibson sounds like a turnoff for a lot of you, but this movie is actually very good and teaches a lot about history. So watch it. It's a very good movie, Patriot. So that's why people say the whole saying about guns don't kill people, people do. Because a gun in the hands of the right person can be a good thing. And like they said, children were taught how to, boys, not girls, boys were taught at that age how to use guns. Now, I'm not saying girls can't shoot. I've seen plenty of girls on TikTok who have been at firing ranges and brag about the fact they know how to shoot. I know some dads that are on the internet going, my daughter knows how to use a gun, so you better treat her with respect.
Or she shoot you.
Yeah, like dads post that on Facebook and shit. But you learn how to shoot. You had to know how to hunt so you could go get the food so that bring it home so mommy could cook it and feed the family. So hunting and fishing was essential. The reason the Second Amendment was created was a fallback plan in case the government ever became tyrannical and tried to go against its own people. And the reason was because of the Revolutionary War. That I mentioned last week, when we beat England and got our independence. Because we knew people, as I mentioned before last week, are inherently flawed. And people can become drunk with power. That's why we had that popular Spider-Man saying, with great power comes great responsibility. Because people can become corrupted. As we clearly see in the government today.
Yes.
So there was a belief, even back then, that the government could turn against its own people and try to enslave its own people. Hell, we've seen other countries with dictators who have gassed their own people, attacked their own people. If they don't believe in if they don't conform to their way of life. Now, there have been some people who have been put to death that deserve it because they were traitors. Some of them were just normal people with morals and values that were viewed as traitors. So I'm saying that's what the Second Amendment was designed for. And the reason Marcos, when he declared martial law, that was his first official act, was to turn in the guns. Because he knows the best way to control the people is to disarm them. That's why the dumbest thing you can do is put a sign in a building or a school or anywhere and say, this is a gun-free zone. Is the dumbest thing you could ever fucking do. Because if somebody wants to kill, where are they going to go? Somewhere where there's no guns. Because if someone has a gun, they know, oh shit, he can shoot me. That's why they've even talked about putting security guards in schools like we talked about before on this show. The reason we said that, or talked about that, was because that way if somebody breaks into school, you have someone there with a gun that is trained and can protect the children.
Protect the children.
That's what they're talking about. That's why they believe when they say take their freedom, like, they're going to take our guns. No, the fuck you're not.
No, they're not.
That's why they're so hell-bent on holding on to their guns, because they want to protect their property, they want to protect their family, and they got licenses and are responsible. There are some people who have guns that are responsible. There are some people who don't have guns that are responsible. But it's like, oh, we need to take rid of all the guns because everybody's irresponsible. That's like, to me, that's like saying we need to take everybody's cars away because some people drive drunk. You want to take everybody's cars away?
No.
Because that'll prevent drunk driving. But here's the question. How the fuck are you going to get to where you need to go?
True.
You can't Uber. There's no more cars.
True.
Do we have to have only police cars take us everywhere?
No.
Get police escorts?
No.
Like the only people that get to keep their cars are police officers and fire department and ambulances? Because you're like, Vinny, taking away all the cars is stupid. It's the same fucking thing. A car does not kill somebody.
Nope.
A drunk person behind the wheel of that car is going to kill a motherfucker. But that's what I'm saying. That's what the Second Amendment is designed for. It's about protecting the house in case someone invades your house, or if the government became tyrannical, the people could protect themselves. I know some asshole there's going to go going, how's your gun going to protect you against a tank? Well, it doesn't, but at least with the gun, you have a fighting chance than if you don't have one. And depending on how many guns you have and how many people live in your house, you got a fucking chance to win.
Yes, you do.
You don't believe me? Watch the Branch Davidians. They were stockpiled with guns. They had to drive a tank into the building just to stop the fucking thing. The militia movement, Spear of a New World Order, becomes a rallying cry for many right-wing Americans. Their distrust is fueled by Bill Clinton, who signs the federal assault weapons ban into law in 1994, providing more ammunition for the militia movement's rage. The members see themselves as patriots. Okay.
Okay.
Two things.
What?
First of all, you're not patriots.
Nope.
No, you're not. Number two, Zach, do me a favor here. Bill Clinton, what was that ban? What was it called?
The firearms ban?
Yeah. Just read that line right there. He signed the what?
Who signs the federal assault weapons ban into law in 1994.
I'm sorry, the what?
The federal assault weapons ban into law in 1994.
I'm sorry, one more time?
Who signs the federal assault weapons ban into law into 1994.
One more time, louder for the children.
Who signs the federal assault weapons ban into law in 1994?
Thank you, give me the phone. Did y'all hear that? We signed a federal assault weapons ban. The government banned assault weapons. Did they?
Did they?
Did they?
Did they?
And yet, people still had access to the guns. A school shooting would happen later in the year.
Yep.
Many happened since then.
Yep.
I think this should tell you, banning the shit don't work.
No, it don't.
So, literally, there is a time that they tried that and it failed.
Epically failed.
It failed.
Failed.
And yet, there are still dumbasses on social media talking about, we need to ban the guns.
No, we don't.
You literally just saw this thing fucking fail. It failed.
It quickly failed.
Don't you stop to think maybe we should try a different route? Like everybody talking about. Finding responsible gun owners. Increasing the background check. Making sure people who have mental problems don't have access to the guns. But clearly, banning the guns didn't work. Nope. So why the fuck would we try that again?
Don't know.
Because it's easier than trying to solve the actual problem.
True.
Like I said, it involves putting in work. People today don't like to put in work.
No, they do not.
And if you think I'm lying, prove me wrong.
Prove me wrong.
As PCs connect people in cyberspace, militia organizers use online bulletin board systems and chat rooms to recruit new members. So now this is where they're starting to use the internet to recruit more people to join their cause. Meanwhile, Canadian Peter DeJager, working out of his basement in Brampton, Ontario, uses the same resources to warn the world about a problem that's about to earn its catchy name, Y2K. Despite its easy-to-remember name, convincing folks to spend time and money to fix Y2K is a hard sell. As long as it's working right now, it's not a priority. Like, it's working.
It is.
Working just fine.
Absolutely.
I'm going to worry about some other stuff.
Yep.
While Peter agonizes over the government doing too little, the 90s militia movement continues to sign up members by arguing the government is doing too much. The movement grows to an estimated 60,000 members nationwide. Aided by anti-government propaganda passed around at gun shows, including the famous videotape, Waco, the Big Lie. Mm-hmm. So now they're going to gun shows to recruit people and trying to get people to come in. Now, it was produced by attorney Linda Thompson. The documentary helped sow the seeds of a catastrophe in the mind of a young Gulf War veteran who we talked about last week, Timothy McVeigh. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Everybody tried to blame Rush Limbaugh when apparently it was this documentary that made him do it.
Yep.
Oh, there was something.
Yeah, wow. What a conspiracy that turned out to be.
Thompson claims in The Big Lie that the Branch Davidians didn't start the fire that killed 76 people. It was a false flag operation where government agents framed the members of the apocalyptic cult.
I don't know about that.
I don't know either.
We weren't there. We don't know who really shot first, but it was one big fuck up, and it was David Koresh, the Branch Davidians' fault for opening fire on fucking law enforcement.
Yes.
The ATF and the FBI.
Yes.
Good job.
Timothy becomes outraged and decides to attack. And on the second anniversary of what extremists call the Waco Massacre, Timothy McVeigh, along with Army buddy Terry Nichols, execute their monstrous plan, the Oklahoma City bombing, which we talked about last week. Yep. But that's really what it is. Now, I think his goal is to build up a federal building. I don't think he realized he's about to kill a lot of people in the process, which didn't help the cause.
No, I guess you're still alive.
Who?
Terry Nichols.
Yes?
Yeah, he's in the ADX in Colorado. Basically the new 2.0 version of Alcatraz. As far as I know, he's still alive to the day.
But he's in jail.
Yeah, in prison like that. Prison where he ain't getting out. That's where they send the terrorists, the serial killers, everybody. I was like, okay. And Terry Nichols, as far as I'm concerned, is still alive. Which is strange is how Timothy got executed. Terry Nichols did it.
I think it's because Timothy was the main guy that carried it out, and I think Terry was just the accomplice, or Terry plea bargained, where he got life in prison instead of the death penalty. Sometimes they do that; they'll take the death penalty off and just give you life in prison if you cut a deal. Yeah. Like maybe he agreed to testify against Timothy, and in exchange they gave him life in prison. Okay. That can happen. I don't know. I don't fucking know. I wasn't there. Basically, it was a fertilizer bomb in a truck that Tim drove to the Bureau of Federal Building and set off. It was the worst act of domestic terrorism in U.S. history and the second worst act of terrorism, period, in our country's history. Second only to the 9/11 attacks. So, it's number one as far as domestic terrorism. It's number two in terrorism overall. Yeah. Because nothing topped 9/11. It wasn't going to top 9/11. Sorry, it doesn't. The Oklahoma City bombing killed 168 innocent people, including 19 children. The carnage was brutal as images were shown of firefighters cradling the bodies of bloody infants.
I remember seeing I didn't. I was maybe 5 or 6 years old, but I didn't
Yeah.
understand it at the time. What the hell was going on?
It had a tremendous effect on everybody, but not everyone responds in the same way. Despite the carnage being aired on live TV, right-wing extremists believe McVeigh is a patsy taking the fall in another big lie. They credit the government with the attack and accuse the media of engineering a cover-up. All of it to convince Americans to go along with the New World Order. Yeah. Now here's where the crazy's setting in.
QQ.
Because, again, this is one of those things where there's they think it's an inside job.
Yeah.
And to anybody out there that's automatically assuming that, there are some people who still think 9/11 was an inside job. Like, so it's crazy. That's how crazy this shit gets. They assume everything's an inside job.
I wonder if they think Pearl Harbor was an inside job.
I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to believe that.
I was like, we gotta figure that out for a life dependent on it.
Well, I think what made it worse was when they found out that the Gulf of Tonkin incident that got us into the Vietnam War, that was a false flag operation. It never happened. We found that out in 2004.
Yep.
And I think the fact that that turned out to be true, here's the worst part. This is why I say all the time about, if somebody accuses somebody of a crime, like, always make sure they're telling the truth before you back them up or check their facts. Because if there's that one lie, it can make everybody else look like liars. Yep. So that's the crazy part. So, because if you strongly believe the Gulf of Tonkin incident really happened, you're passionate about it, but think this other one's a lie, but that turns out to be a lie, then how do we know you're not lying about everything else? True. That's why you got to be very careful with the conspiracies you believe in. Unless you honestly believe it in your heart, don't endorse it. When the U.S. Justice Department creates an anti-domestic terrorism program, they hire Mark Picavage, who quickly identifies a new possible trigger for right-wing extremist attacks, Y2K. Militia members look for any opportunity to spread their message, including a surprise appearance on Donahue before millions of Americans. And there was one black man that was part of the group. So they weren't a prejudiced group.
No, they were not.
They were like what I was saying before. It was citizens against the government. There were even some black people that were in the group. They were all brothers in arms.
Yep. Concerned
that confusion over Y2K will be the catalyst for more extremist violence, Congress calls a hearing to lay out the facts and invites the Paul Revere of Y2K, Peter DeJager. He spoke in America, Australia, and the UK. So now they're taking him seriously. They weren't taking him seriously when there was a computer problem. But now that there's a militia forming and all this terrorism stuff happening, now we want to listen. Now it's a problem.
It is a problem.
And that's going to get into an old saying that happens later in this video. As international governments wake up to the perils of Y2K, so do media outlets around the world. They now start taking Peter seriously. About fucking time. With pressure mounting on the U.S. government, the need arises for someone to lead the bureaucratic charge for Y2K. The question is who? Who? John Koskinen, who becomes the chair of the President's Council on year 2000 conversion, came at the request of both Bill Clinton and Al Gore. He coordinated the federal government's role in ultimately 170 countries around the world. He was sent to take on the responsibility of Y2K, but some feel it is too little too late and he won't be able to avert disaster. Hey, someone else is finally fixing it. If only they'd known about it sooner.
Very soon.
Oh, wait. They
They did.
did. By 1998, even as Hollywood turns right-wing conspiracy theories into a movie storyline, far-right talk radio hosts are claiming Y2K is a legitimate government plot. But behind the scenes, despite the potentially huge cost of failure and his exceptionally late start, John Koskinen's work as the new man in charge of Y2K is much more mundane than nefarious. And of course, they're talking about the movie like Conspiracy Theory with Mel Gibson, The Net, someone I think Sleeping with the Enemy. There's a few of these that come out. They're like the Pelican's Brief. Like these all become like conspiracy theory style shows. Hell, even Man of the Year with Robin Williams could fall in that category. Ultimately, Koskinen has to get tens of thousands of organizations to fix their systems by changing 2-digit dates to 4-digit dates in millions of lines of computer code. Social Security alone at 52 million lines of code. A lot of computer code.
That's a lot of computer code.
That's some code, man.
That's a lot of code.
And there weren't a lot of computer geniuses back then like there are today.
Even close.
That's a lot of unpaid interns.
Yeah, that's a shitload of unpaid interns.
With the Y2K clock counting down, Peter Dieger steps up his speaking engagements to help spread the word. When he's not on the road, Peter's focused on his burgeoning website traffic. He had an online mailing list with 80,000 subscribers. He would get 400 to 500 email lists a day.
That's a lot of email.
Oh, yeah.
That's a shitload of email.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of spam.
Yeah.
Mm.
Peter also teams up with John Koskinen to coordinate their efforts. One of the strategies was to talk to people to see what they knew. They started at programmer level and then raised the threat of lawyers getting involved so that directors would open up the purse strings and get this done. So they start threatening them with legal action if they don't start fucking forking up cash to fix this damn thing. At this point, like I said, the clock is ticking. So now they're strong-arming people into doing this shit. It's like, you know what? We've asked you to look at this. Now we're telling you to look at this.
Tell you to look at it.
But the downside of system of Y2K messaging is how easily those messages get distorted in the new 90s internet age. Many people on the far right saw this as the collapse of society and that instead of presidential elections, there will be martial law. So now they're thinking, oh, we're not going to have any presidents no more.
Nope.
Now they're going to become dictators. Vinny, that's absurd. Really?
Really?
Because the last guy that was president, y'all thought he was going to do the same thing. But he didn't.
No, he did not.
They also think all the non-whites coming out of the cities and into the countryside will start a race war. Oh, great.
Here we go.
Yeah, everyone thinks there's going to be a race war.
Yeah,
no, there's not. Fuck this stupid shit.
Very stupid.
Because even with some far right-wing people, there are certain times where you can go, yeah, I see your point there. I see your point there. Okay, now you're getting crazy. I gotta go home. This is where I'm going home. You're out.
Yeah, time to go.
Screw you guys. I'm going home. But Vinny, screw you guys. The far right's fear of a collapsed society helps revive survivalism across America. Bomb shelters stockpile with food, weapons, survival goods, and gear. Towards the end of the decade, they start holding Y2K survival expos. So now this is where we know about the bunkers.
Yeah.
Now today, most people have these because they're worried about the zombies.
Or the weather.
Well, mostly zombies, but the weather too.
Tornado zombies.
Well, now this is a shelter for people who thought, oh, at the end of the world, I've got enough food, I've got enough stuff to last me year round. I got this, so I will survive the apocalypse. As these events flourish, they give militia groups the opportunity to meet in the real world and exchange their incendiary government beliefs, like seeing 600 to 800 concentration camps already built in the United States. Fully manned but empty, but ready for people to be rounded up when Y2K occurs. And the government steps in to do all of its nefarious things. Okay. Here's the thing. Out of all the crazy shit that has been said in this thus far, this is one that's really close to being accurate. And I can tell you 2 reasons why. Number 1, during World War II, there were Japanese people put into internment camps because Japan bombed Pearl Harbor. Yep. George Takei even said he grew up in one of those camps.
Oh, okay.
So there is truth to that has happened. So the fact that it can't happen again is ludicrous. Also, as I mentioned many times before, there's a certain individual whose name I don't bring up because it triggers Zach. This week I have to trigger Zach. I'm sorry. For those who don't know, there was a show many years ago called Conspiracy Theories. The guy who hosted it was a man by the name of Jesse Ventura. That does not like him, but we're not going to get into that on this show. I will just say, for those who don't know, Jesse Ventura was a Navy SEAL, former pro wrestler. He did commentary, was an announcer. He was around during much of the 80s and 90s in wrestling. He became a mayor. He was the governor of Minnesota for many years. And also, he ran conspiracy theory TV shows. He's known for being an independent. He's known for hating both Democrats and Republicans with a passion. And people have asked him many times if he run for president. Sometimes he says yes, sometimes he says no. Don't look like it's ever going to fucking happen. And I mentioned one time for an independent that had to be fucking amazing to make that happen. If there's one independent that could beat them, it's probably Jesse. But will he ever run for president? We don't fucking know. I'm not holding my breath. But I would be honest, if he ran, I'd vote for him. But in one of his episodes of Conspiracy Theories, he actually stumbled across one of these camps. Saw military people in those camps. No one would answer questions. Couldn't get any interviews. He's on camera trying to get interviews, but people said, you got to talk to the higher-ups, who obviously aren't going to take his call. But at one point in one of the camps, because the chain link fence, you can see through it. It's not like it's not, you can't see it. You can clearly see what's in there. Mm-hmm. He found a jungle gym in one of the camps. Now, Zach, who normally plays on a jungle gym? Children. Mm-hmm. So he's like, are there children in here? Mm-hmm. Are you planning to put children in here as well? They didn't answer, but it made you think. But yes, I had to bring him up for this, man. I'm sorry. Give me a break. Can we not get into that? We don't have time today.
Sorry.
Thank you. So there is some truth to the concentration camp thing. Now, they've been built, but so far nobody's put in it that we know about.
I heard of that too.
But hopefully that doesn't happen. But you'll know if it does happen because I'll probably be locked in one of them motherfuckers. Cause...
catch me first.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I mean, if they caught us. Yeah. I mean, obviously.
Catch you, but they won't catch me.
Zach's used to running from the law. He's got quick feet.
That and I epically failed.
Yes. The militia movement's suspicion triggers a deadly plan in Texas. A militia cell with members from a variety of different states plotted to attack U.S. military bases that they thought were housing New World Order foreign soldiers and settled upon Fort Hood in Texas. They wanted to attack on the 4th of July, and if it weren't for some undercover officers on the Missouri State Highway Patrol, they might have been successful. Instead, the FBI arrests Kansas militia leader Bradley Glover and accomplice Michael Dorsett in a Texas campground with a lethal cache of weapons. So they were going to attack an army base because they thought it was holding foreign leaders. Yeah. First of all, good fucking luck attacking a base.
Yeah.
I would love to see them try just the entertainment value because I don't see you taking out a military base with just two motherfuckers. You're all gonna die. Yep. Even by some miracle, you popped off a couple soldiers. Mm-hmm. There's enough in there to come fucking kill you.
You gotta worry about the people at the towers with the sniper rifle.
Oh, yeah. But thank God they didn't do anything. I'm just saying for the entertainment of seeing those two get lit up with bullets, I would have loved to have seen it. If I'm on that military base, I'm like, they come fucking try.
All he needs is one gun and one bullet. I wonder who that is.
Liam Neeson?
Oh.
Who?
Chris Kyle.
In late 90s America, with the specter of Y2K looming, extremist threats of all kinds are increasing. 1999 arrives with a cacophony of doomsday predictions about the end times. Yeah. Now there's where all the religious nuts are starting to come in, thinking it's the end of the world.
It's the end of the world as we know it.
I feel fine. Gibber, 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 gibber. As the 1 year countdown to the millennium begins, Leonard Nimoy goes where no one has gone before, delivering the Y2K Family Survival Guide.
I did not know he did that.
I didn't either.
I didn't see that in there. Leonard Nimoy, live long and prosper.
Yes.
Our watch is still barely Star Trek, no offense.
The new year ushers in a heightened level of anxiety from the spiritual realm. Some fringe religious groups become convinced that the end of the world is near or some cataclysmic event is coming soon. One such apocalyptic cult is Colorado's Concerned Christians, led by Monte Kim Miller, a former pharmaceutical executive.
Oh, yeah, this guy.
So he was probably on a bunch of shit.
Yeah. Pharmaceutical pills, man. Those are careful with those.
I think I know why he's a former pharmaceutical executive. He got kicked out because he took too many pills, got all these fucking visions, and now he runs a fucking Christian cult. It all connects! Drugs are bad.
Drugs are bad, okay? What are you talking about, honey? I never did a drug a day in my life.
Don't be lying. Liars are bad. Lying's bad. Lying's bad. Okay? Lying's bad. Miller believes the U.S. president and the Antichrist are one and the same, and that Y2K will bring the second coming of Christ. What is with all these people in the second coming of Christ?
I don't know.
You got these cults who think Jesus is coming back. You got the Beatles who think they're bigger than Jesus. You got Kanye West who thinks he is Jesus. What is it with all of you and Jesus?
And then proceeds to fuck up the words of Bohemian Rhapsody in England, announcing he's the greatest rock star of all time. Kanye West said this at a music festival in England.
Kanye West says a bunch of stupid shit. Why are you people even listening to him?
He sucks.
He even moves his concerned Christians to Jerusalem to prepare for it.
And gets arrested and deported back.
Yes.
The Jews don't like you.
He said, God speaks through my mouth.
Benny?
Yeah?
You want to take this one?
And he told you to go to Jerusalem? Maybe he told you to get off the pills and try to get your job back and pay some fucking taxes. Lazy shit.
Asshole.
Just months later, on January 3rd, 1999, police in Israel arrest and deport Miller and 13 other cult members. They felt they were planning to commit violent acts to bring about an apocalypse in the year 2000.
Yeah, and they try to do it in Israel, who has one of the biggest badass militaries of all. Yeah, they're right with us. I'm saying, I will say this: the Israeli army, God forbid, those are some badass Jews.
Yeah,
there's some badass Jews. Because in Israel, it is a mandatory thing to serve in the military for 3 years.
Yeah.
Why do you think I have such a huge crush on Wonder Woman?
While America's doomsday cults are stirring up trouble abroad, on U.S. soil, survivalism is on the rise. Y2K survivalist goods are in high demand across America. They got infomercials for it and all this crazy shit. John Koskinen and Peter DeJager are forced to do damage control to stave up the public panic that could cause desperate runs on the nation's supply chain. They felt that missiles would launch and there would be a nuclear holocaust. Peter says that's not true. Yeah, we're not going to have a nuclear holocaust.
We would have that. We already had that. Somebody saved us back in the 60s from that happening. Name again? Oh yeah, JFK. Anyways.
But end of the world paranoia is reaching a fever pitch in mainstream media. To prevent an international crisis, Koskinen organizes an emergency meeting of the United Nations. 170 countries gathered at the United Nations, which was the largest meeting in history other than the General Assembly meeting at the UN. But despite Koskinen's best efforts, anxiety and doom continue to spread. Now they're trying to get all the nations involved to work together to fix this problem. In November of 1999, an internal FBI report detailing the threats of Y2K domestic terrorism is leaked to the public. They felt that hackers would create a Y2K virus that would strike at midnight. So now they're thinking the hackers are going to create something. So we thought something was going to happen. Now they're definitely worried someone's going to create something to happen. There are also threats to disrupt and destroy some of the nation's critical infrastructure. In the days leading up to the millennium, the feds move against the far-right extremists they consider most dangerous. Members of a militia cell in California arrested for plotting to blow up energy-related facilities, and a militia leader in Florida who is plotting to attack a nuclear power plant. Border police in Washington State also catch a fugitive, Ahmed Rassam, sneaking in from Canada, with 130 pounds of explosives in his car. His plan, to detonate a suitcase bomb at LAX on New Year's Day 2000. Despite his arrest, U.S. authorities are forced to wonder how many more terrorists are still out there. So now everybody is looking to do something in 2000. Either because they're shit crazy, or they want to be remembered for something.
Or both.
Or both. The last day of 1999 finally arrives. At 8 a.m. in Washington, D.C., Auckland, New Zealand will be the first to meet the year 2000. John Koskinen is anxiously watching from the Y2K command post 2 blocks from the White House. In New Zealand, nothing happens except celebrations. But we have miles to go before we sleep.
And during the New Year's Eve, during that time in 99, I was watching Nickelodeon. They're all showing a bunch of old classic Nickelodeon stuff from that year. And you remember the Pete guy? Not the tall one, but the little one?
The little one? Danny Tamborelli?
Yeah, different. I fucking love him. He comes up and goes, you look at the screen, hey, wakey, wakey, man. Not wake. It's not midnight yet. Hello, wake up. I always liked him. Did you also know he was in Mighty Ducks?
Yes. I can't remember who he played, but
he played the short. He was the only ginger on the fucking team, dude. The short ginger kid.
Well, I don't remember the whole fucking team. I forgot there was even a ginger on there. No offense. Yeah.
He was that theme song for Pete was always catchy though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
It was weird. It was a good show.
That show made no fucking sense at all.
I don't know, but I enjoyed it.
No, it was a good show. There were some episodes that were good, but overall, there was no structure. There was no theme.
No.
There was nothing.
No.
It was the most random ass fucking show.
They did it good. I guess they were good at improv.
Yeah. Was there even a fucking script? It was the dumbest shit in the world.
I am RT, the most strongest man in the world.
What the fuck was the point of that?
I don't know.
What did he do?
It made me laugh.
It was random. It was stupid.
Also, a young Michelle Trachtenberg. She was also in it too.
Who?
Michelle Trachtenberg.
Yeah, right. I remember her. Most of you know her from Eurotrip. But with half the world still in 1999, Koskinen has devised a special way to demonstrate his confidence in America's Y2K preparations. People thought planes were going to drop out of the sky. So at 6:30 p.m., Koskinen boards a commuter flight from Washington to New York so he can be in the air for London's New Year's celebration at midnight. Greenwich Mean Time. There were 13 people on the flight. 4 or 5 of them are reporters. One noticed a guy who was getting scared when he realized he was in the air during London's New Year's celebration. And back then, you could be nervous on a plane and nobody turned it around. Today, plane's not a good place to have a nervous breakdown.
No.
While Mark Pikovich is attending a New Year's house party, he's also on standby for ABC News so he can respond in case of a terrorist attack. When the new millennium arrives in London without incident, it marks another Y2K milestone. But America still awaits its arrival. Yep. Not even the hosts of Late Night are joking about the potential dangers. Well, one of them is David Letterman with special guest James Earl Jones. They're the only ones making any jokes. The rest of them are legit fucking scared.
Yeah.
You know something serious when even the Late Night hosts don't touch it.
Yeah. My mom and dad grew up, raised me Democrat. They didn't say, just another year, nothing's going to happen.
With the millennium just seconds away, the countdown in Times Square begins. And that's when I had the wish bags. Mm-hmm. You blow up the air, you wish for something, and then when the ball drops, you pop it. Got my whole family to do that. Mm. After years of anticipation and anxiety, Y2K has arrived in America. Everything worked. There were no viruses. No planes fell out of the sky. Nope. Elevators didn't plummet to the ground. Nope. So basically nothing happened. We were good.
Good.
Everyone was safe.
It was good.
We were fine.
It was good.
However, there were a few problems. We just didn't hear about them. Mm-hmm. Behind the scenes in Washington, Koskinen has been putting out fires all night. Mm-hmm. The Japanese reported the computer safety systems monitoring their nuclear plants wasn't functioning well. The Department of Transportation was saying the low-level wind shear detectors at all the airports in the United States failed. Also, the Defense Intelligence Satellite System went down. But thankfully, it was a minor situation. Some things didn't work, but nothing systemic. So there were some problems. But also, you gotta keep in mind, part of the reason nothing happened was because they worked round the clock to fix everything. So instead of getting pissed off that shit's not working, clap for the 2 motherfuckers who got shit fixed. Thank God. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, John. Instead of going, you motherfuckers wasted all our time. Talk about ungrateful bitches. Mm-hmm. One bomb does go off, but it's in Russia. So Russia, this is when President Boris Yeltsin announces he's stepping down, and the Vladimir Putin era begins in the midst of millennium celebrations. So this is when Vladimir Putin, who obviously nobody likes, got into Russia. This is when he officially assumed power in Russia. Technically, he's been running Russia for 23 years.
Bullshit.
Boris Yeltsin stepped down.
I'm a bully Yeltsin.
Now, last week I talked about George Washington. And I said how the reason he stopped being president was because after 8 years he decided not to run again because he didn't want to be a permanent leader. Mm-hmm. Well, Russia kind of does the opposite of that. Yeah. They don't really hold elections. Someone just gets appointed and they stay there till they either resign or die. Unless you're going to convince me that the Russians really like Vladimir Putin and that's why he's still there. I doubt it. I don't fucking know. I just know the rest of the world seems to hate him.
He needs to go to prison, but that's just me.
Yeah, that's true. Koskinen has been working 2 years to prevent a catastrophe in the U.S., but as they say, no good deed goes unpunished.
Of course it does.
People started saying this was all bullshit and a waste of time. Koskinen went to Sam Donaldson of ABC, who said it was a waste of time, but John said he only believes that because nobody died. If there's not blood in the streets, you think it's not a problem. Burn, and so true. So fucking true.
No one died.
Yeah, but that's the only reason they're upset is because no one died. So this is a waste of time. Would you rather see shit shut down and people dying in order to fucking go, wow, this is a tragedy? Like we said, they fucking fixed it. That's why there wasn't a problem.
No problem whatsoever.
And there were still problems in other areas. But again, the news doesn't report on catastrophes unless shit blows up or people get shot or stabbed. Mm-hmm. Because if it bleeds, it leads. Mm-hmm. Violence in the media is wrong, but we don't have anything to report, though. Nope. So we're just boring unless we can talk about a shooting or a stabbing.
Yep.
The public backlash against the two faces of Y2K is harsh and immediate. Peter became a recluse and received death threats. He still believes there was a problem, and the reason nothing happened is because they spent the money to fix them. Yeah. Those Y2K fixes cost an estimated $400 billion worldwide. Well, hey, that's what happens when you put something off for too long. It becomes costly.
A lot of cost.
You could have spent a little bit of money to fix it now, but because you're like, I'll worry about it later. It's not my problem. I can't worry about it. And then what happens? $400 billion later, now you got to fix a problem. Maybe next time, pay more attention to the task at hand.
Very true.
Fucking
stupid.
Well, and that, ladies and gentlemen, will wrap up this week's episode of Boochcast Reviews. Darkside of the 90s. Zach, as always, I thank you for taking time and our busy schedule to join us. Tune in next week. We are at the finale, at least for now. We're going to be getting into the morning show wars.
Love you, Kelly.
So make sure you guys follow us on all of our podcast platforms. Link is down in the description box below. Follow us on our social media platforms. Link is down in the description box below. Support the Boochcast. Go to anchor.fm/theboochcast/support. Link will be down in the description box below. And of course, as always, hit the subscribe button and ring that bell to be notified so you never miss another episode of Boochcast Reviews Darkside of the 90s, as well as other additional Boochcast YouTube content. We'll talk to you guys next time. Until then, pizza, baby!